roller coaster? Frustrated with the government taxing you into oblivion? Worried about inflation? How do you prepare for so many financial uncertainties? Welcome to the show that will help you develop your game plan. The Financial Quarterback with Josh Jelinski. Josh is a noted financial advisor and president of the Jelinski Advisory Group, and he's here to answer your questions. Call into the show at 800-321-0710. 800-321-0710. Now, let's kick off your financial future. Here's Josh Jelinski.
Hi, everybody. This is Josh Jelinski, the Financial Quarterback, and we have Bob Carlson today talking about Social Security. So whatever question you have, we're here for you live. If you have questions on stocks, bonds, annuities, mutual funds, give us a call now. 800-321-0710. 800-321-0710. So Bob, for our listeners who aren't familiar with your work, describe your background. What got you into financial services, and what prompted you to want to help so many people with your book?
An attorney, went to Clemson University and the University of Virginia School of Law.
Still nobody here, Josh.
Okay. So Bob isn't here. So folks, give us a call, 800-321-0710. If you have questions on stocks, bonds, annuities, mutual funds, whatever question you have, no question is a dumb one, except the one that you do not ask. So this week was announced the Amazonification of America. Amazon, Walmart, Target, Costco, a lot of retailers are now pushing a $15 minimum wage by the free market. But in President-elect Joe Biden's $1.9 trillion stimulus package, we now have the Amazonification of America. What do I mean by Amazonification of America? How will a small business be able to compete with the likes of Amazon when they have to spend $15 on a minimum wage? So what's your take on the $15 minimum wage? Give us a call, 800-321-0710.
All right.
So the $1.9 trillion COVID relief plan calls for stimulus checks, unemployment support, and more. According to CNBC, President-elect Joe Biden on Thursday unveiled details of a $1.9 trillion coronavirus stimulus plan. Now, when I went and reviewed this, I don't have the exact numbers in front of me anymore, but it was something like only a couple hundred billion actually went to directly handling coronavirus. A majority of it was government spending. So I see two or three things happening due to the $1.9 trillion coronavirus stimulus plan. Number one, the Amazonification of America. Small businesses that struggled under COVID, they struggled with lockdown measures, very onerous lockdown measures. Now, these same small businesses have to jack the pay of their employees at a time where they can't even afford it. Let's put more small businesses under, will we? Also, I don't know about you, but I got my start working minimum wage, and sometimes less than minimum wage, working paper routes. Now, an employer will have no absolute reason to hire unskilled labor. So it's actually going to exacerbate income inequality. And I'll talk more about the $15 minimum wage proposal, which probably won't get passed, but they'll raise it to some number like 10 or 12, and they'll call it a victory. But the real minimum wage, as economists have found out, is always zero. So President-elect Biden also called for a $10,000 student loan forgiveness But that was not included in the stimulus plan. Senior officials of the incoming Biden administration say the president-elect still supports forgiving $10,000 in student debt per borrower, but there is no mention of these loans being canceled in the $1.9 trillion stimulus package. Also in the stimulus, increased checks of $1,400. They're saying increasing the checks to $2,000. It's really a $1,400 increase. It's something that President Trump already proposed, so that's really not new. And the unemployment plan includes a $400 weekly boost, extra benefits for 6 months. President-elect Joe Biden's pandemic relief package would extend income support for millions of unemployed workers through September 2021 and increase the jobless benefits by $400 per week, according to a speech outlining his plan on Thursday night. Now, here's the problem. Tax changes are on the way. If we have $1.9 trillion with a T in new spending, two things are going to happen. Hyperinflation, the dollar will become worth less. That's why we're seeing Bitcoin hovering around 37,000. What will happen when a barrel of money will buy a bushel of wheat? Are you really prepared for hyperinflation? We've never had it we haven't had rampant inflation in about 40 years. So just be prepared. Real estate values going up. Price of bread going up. Just wait. This is what happens when you print money unfettered. And shame on both parties for doing this. I decried what I saw was President Trump's fiscal mismanagement, raising, by some estimations, $8 to $10 trillion under his watch. And now we see that President-elect Biden is sort of continuing spending like a drunken sailor. I have a real problem with it, but hey, you won't suffer. It'll just be your kids and grandkids that'll be suffering in Venezuelan-like poverty. So who cares, right? Make sure you can buy the Netflix subscription and whatever else you need. That booze store that's open, that's mandated on the coronavirus lockdown affected everybody but supermarkets, grocery stores, booze shops, pot shops. But Joe's Pizza Shack, they've been living under onerous rules, and now they have to jack up minimum wage for their employees. They can't even afford to pay their own rent, mortgage, whatever. But I digress. How to use estate planning to prepare for what's coming under a Biden administration. Advisors, according to the Financial Advisor magazine, should help people plan now for whatever estate, gift, and income tax changes might be in the offing under the new Democratic-controlled Congress and the Biden administration. James Bertels, managing director of Tiedemann Advisors, a national financial service firm, said in an interview this week. Now, the new COVID-19 stimulus law does not extend the CARES Act Coronavirus Relief Act. There's been some confusion, according to IRAhelp.com, about the retirement plan aspects of the COVID-19 stimulus package signed into law December 27th, 2020. One national news network has reported that the new law extends the CARES Act for coronavirus-related distributions in 2021. This apparently is incorrect. At least for the moment, CRDs are not available for 2021. CRD is if you had a hardship, you could take money out of your IRA or 401k without a penalty for early distributions. And the PPP is out. The Paycheck Protection Plan is out. Round 2. If one of your quarters in 2020 did worse in 2019, you need to contact your bank now. Ernesto, did you do it yet? Not yet. You need to. So PPP, our tax dollars will go to fund this. Our worthless dollars are going to fund this. So take advantage of it. So if you had a worse 2020 than 2019, go to various websites. Cabbage was one that I remember was holding itself out. Many local banks, Eastern Union Bank, there were many, First Republic and others were really lasting and there for the small business community. So check your local credit union or local bank. If you have a big bank and they're giving you the hem and the haw, find another bank. So PPP round 2. The American Institute of CPAs is urging people to move swiftly to collect key information to secure the Paycheck Protection Program, such as average monthly payroll amounts, quarterly revenue comparisons for the second draw borrowers, and other required documents to speed the process. The problem with PPP round 2, I would contend, as opposed to round 1, the beauty of round 1 is it was helping businesses that were doing well. Kanye West got into some flack for taking PPP. Shake Shack got into flack, but they didn't lay people off. So what I'm seeing now is unemployment numbers are starting to go up, maybe because the new PPP round 2 is a little stricter to get. Hopefully there won't be as many more abuses, but there were abuses. The intended plan was to make business, not lay people off, and it worked. But we'll see if PPP round 2 works the same. So we'll be back after these messages with Bob Carlson and your calls after this. This is Josh Jelinski, the financial quarterback. Don't touch that dial.
It's always on your mind. Retirement, whether you're 55 or 35. Not everyone wants to work forever, and most would like a comfortable retirement.
Am I on?
You may already have a plan, but is it the right one? Josh Jelinski, host of the popular Financial Quarterback radio program, is ready to guide you towards financial freedom. He challenges the ways your parents and grandparents saved money with fresh strategies, which are exactly what you need to navigate today's volatile economic climate. Josh's new book, Retirement Reality Check, is available to order on Amazon. It's an easy read that guides you through his system for securing your financial freedom, including tax-saving strategies, understanding the right investment mix, and more. Order now. Retirement Reality Check. Call Josh at 888-988-JOSH. Let Josh help you map out your retirement using fresh strategies. Call 888-988-5674. That's 888-988-5674.
Hey, meet you out on the first tee?
Yeah, I'll be right there. Just reading this article.
On what?
New bill Congress passed. Looks like it's going to affect the value of all retirement savings plans. My financial guy didn't tell me about this when I saw him the other day.
Well, my guy did, and we made a plan. You may have heard of him, Josh Jelinski.
Josh Jelinski is your guy?
Listen, if you're 10 years or less from retirement,
Which I am.
Josh will give you a free economic plan, which includes retirement planning, a 27-point checklist to make sure your income lasts as long as you live. He'll even help you navigate the current tax code.
I'm definitely going to call Josh.
Cool, but first, can we play some golf?
Call Josh Jelinski, host of the popular Financial Quarterback radio program, for your free economic plan. 888-988-JOSH. 888-988-JOSH. 888-988-JOSH.
Joined by Bob Carlson, who's called America's #1 retirement expert, editor of the popular Retirement Watch newsletter. How did you get the moniker America's #1 retirement expert, Bob? Who called you that?
Well, several people have. It's because I wrote the book on retirement. Actually, I wrote it twice. I did a dummies version. It was with a co-author, Eric Tyson, Personal Finance After 50 for Dummies. And I wrote another book, The New Rules of Retirement. So I've been out there for a while. Been doing retirement watch for about 30 years, and I cover all the financial aspects of retirement. Many people hold themselves out as retirement advisors, only cover one or two areas, but in the newsletter and the books, I try to cover all the financial aspects of retirement and retirement planning.
Now, when I go on your website, January 2021, Congress comes for your retirement money. A devastating new law has just been enacted with serious consequences for anyone holding an IRA. What are you talking about?
Well, that's the Secure Act, which had a number of good provisions in it, but another provision it did eliminated the stretch IRA. And people like to keep money in their IRAs with hope of passing it on to the next generation. And the previous law allowed next generation to inherit an IRA, take advantage of the tax-deferred compounding over their life expectancy and let that money accumulate in the IRA until they really need it. But under the Secure Act, all these inherited IRA, or most of these inherited IRAs, have to be distributed within 10 years after they're inherited. So it's really upset a number of estate plans that were counting on just passing that on to the next generation and letting them use the tax-deferred compounding.
Yeah, the stretch IRA was sort of like the middle-class trust fund. You could essentially leave money to your grandkids and it would grow tax-deferred for up to 80 years. So what do you recommend for young, not young people, anybody, young, old, middle-aged, who has an IRA in light of the stretch being nullified?
Well, there are a lot of strategies to look at and decide which is best for you. A very common one is to convert that traditional IRA into a Roth IRA so that you're paying the taxes now. But even then, when a Roth IRA is inherited, it still has to be distributed within 10 years in most cases, so that it's out of that tax-free vehicle and back into a taxable account. And then there's other strategies you can use. Some of them involve life insurance, where you convert that IRA basically into a permanent life insurance policy where the amount your heirs inherit is going to be guaranteed by the insurance company, plus it's going to be tax-free. And in a number of circumstances, doing that will actually leave your heirs better off than if they'd inherited that traditional IRA or even a Roth IRA. And there's some other strategies that might involve charitable trusts or things of that nature. But there's a range of strategies people can consider. They just need to go with their financial planner or estate planner and determine which one's best for them.
Sure. And folks, if you want Bob's latest book, which we're giving away today, give us a call, 888-988-JOSH, and request your What to Do with the Secure Act review, 888-988-JOSH. Bob's been gracious to give away 3 hard copies of the book for those of you who schedule and keep your appointment. So let's talk about the new book. Tell us about your new book and mistakes you see retirees making in regards to collecting their Social Security.
Yeah, the new book's called Where's My Money? Secrets to Getting the Most Out of Your Social Security. And what I found over the years is that Social Security is a complicated system, and many people don't understand the trade-offs in it and the rules in it, and so they leave a lot of money on the table. Your average individual, I think, probably gives up $100,000 or more of lifetime income by not claiming Social Security the right way. The most common mistake is that people underestimate their longevity, their life expectancy, and they also don't really understand the importance of the lifetime guarantee that Social Security is and the inflation indexing. And so what happens is they claim Social Security pretty early. Almost all of them now claim before full retirement age. But the longer you delay claiming your benefits, the more they increase. And that increase is really important over your full lifetime. Many people, when they're first looking at retirement, they think there's not a big difference between waiting and claiming now. but that compounds over 20 or 30 years of retirement. And when people get near the end of retirement, they see Social Security as much more important source of income than it was earlier, and that they really wish they'd waited and had that additional 30% or more of monthly income coming into them.
So what do you do with Social Security besides delay?
Another common mistake people make is couples need to coordinate their benefits. That usually doesn't happen. And what they overlook is that after one spouse passes away, then only one Social Security benefit is going to be coming into that household. And it's going to be the higher of the two benefits that were received previously in most cases. So what you want to do is have the higher earning spouse delay receiving benefits as long as possible, so that when that one benefit disappears, the one that's still coming into the household will be the highest one possible. So a good strategy for most couples is for the higher income spouse to wait as long as possible to claim benefits, and for the lower income spouse, he or she often can claim early, and the couple over their lifetimes will have the highest lifetime benefits under any scenario.
So would you generally recommend the higher earning spouse take Social Security at 70 and the lower one maybe take it at 62? That way one gets some quick cash now, and then the other builds sort of a death benefit, if you will, for the other spouse?
Yeah, that's a very good strategy for a lot of couples. Really delaying Social Security is a very cheap form of life insurance. It would cost the average person or average couple a lot of money to buy an annuity or a life insurance policy that's going to be equal to what those additional Social Security benefits would be. And it actually pays off over the long term for people to draw down their IRAs or other parts of their nest eggs if that's what they need to do to delay their Social Security benefits. But it really, when you crunch the numbers, as I point out in the book, I cite several studies where economists and financial advisors have actually gone through the numbers, and they find that over the long term, over the course of your retirement, it pays to delay Social Security, even if it means drawing down some of your nest egg earlier.
And folks, if you have a question for Bob Carlson on his latest book, give us a call now, 800-321-0710. The book is called Where's My Money? Secrets to Getting the Most Out of Your Social Security. And head over to our YouTube channel. It's youtube.com/Josh Jelinski, the financial quarterback. And we have a caller, Henry, on Social Security. So folks, go to YouTube, subscribe, tell your friends. We have about, this is our first live, we have first couple weeks of our YouTube show. So subscribe, tell all your friends. We got Henry with Bob Carlson. Go ahead, Henry.
Yes, hello. Hi, Bob. I'm a senior citizen, and I had been collecting SSI along with my regular Social Security. Lately, I got a correspondence from my Social Security office telling me that I owe them thousands of dollars back, that they overpaid me. I guess mainly because besides receiving my COVID money, et cetera, CARES Act money, that I was also getting my local state unemployment insurance. This puts me at a terrible disadvantage. I'm not sure where they got such a high number that I would owe them, which I don't necessarily believe that I do, at least not at that high amount they're asking me for. And this would really pretty much wipe me out. This is a lot of money they're asking back. I sent in their SSA, I think it's BA 632 form, asking basically a forgiving of the payment that I owe them, either in all or in part. Haven't heard from them yet, but I'm kind of sweating it out here because it's an awful lot of money to lose. And, it wasn't my fault that I collected COVID money CARES Act money, et cetera, like just about everybody else in the country has. So I'm just kind of like worried about the thing. Any advice?
Yeah, it's an unfortunate situation. Of course, I don't know the details of your case and all that. But Social Security does make a lot of mistakes. I have a chapter in the book documenting various mistakes they routinely make. Reports from Social Security's own Inspector General documents a lot of these mistakes as well. So I wouldn't give up. I'd make sure they cite to you exactly why you owe this money and why you have to pay it back. And if necessary, you could get help probably from your congressman's office, or you might want to go with a lawyer who specializes in Social Security disability. There are a number of them around the country.
Well, thank you so much for the call. And folks, if you want to talk to Bob Carlson, call us 800-321-0710 and get his new book, Where's My Money? Secrets to Getting the Most Out of Your Social Security. Bob is an editor of the monthly newsletter and website Retirement Watch. I still want to talk about the Secure Act. I loved your answer in like a sentence or two. You gave what everyone needs to know. And I want to unpack that a little bit more. And we'll talk more about some of the 34 Social Security quirks, surprises, and misunderstandings that are found in the book. So head over to Where's My Money, also retirementwatch.com. And if you want a free copy of the book, call us now. 888-988-JOSH, 888-988-5674. That's 888-988-JOSH. And if you have a question for Bob Carlson, call us now, 800-321-0710. This is Josh Jelinski, the financial quarterback. Don't touch that dial.
Are you worried about the recent
Am I
coronavirus crisis
What?
and how it may have affected your money? Hi, everybody. I'm Josh Jelinski, the financial quarterback, inviting you to join me for my complimentary 6 Ways to Keep Calm During Turbulent Markets webinar. If you schedule and keep your no-obligation webinar today at 888-988-JOSH, it's a great thing to do. If you're stuck at home under stay-at-home orders, call us right now, 888-988-JOSH. If you're bored, there's never been a better time to get a second opinion on your wealth than right now. 888-988-JOSH, 888-988-5674. And go to my website, retirementrealitycheck.com today and take your free investment profile quiz. And when you buy my book, you're eligible for 3 free gifts. 888-988-JOSH.
Call Josh Jelinski, host of the popular Financial Quarterback radio program, 888-988-JOSH.
I'm live. Hi, we're with Bob Carlson, editor of the popular Retirement Watch newsletter and website. So what are some of the 34 Social Security quirks, surprises, and misunderstandings that you mention in the book?
Yeah, this is a summary of some of the interesting things spread about the rest of the book. One of my friends calls it the Cliff Notes version of the book. But there's a lot of little details about Social Security that people don't realize, and it really affects their benefits over the long term. Just some small ones are that Social Security considers you to be born actually the day before your birthday, which has a big effect on people who are born at the start of the month or the end of the month. Also, Social Security benefits are paid actually 1 month behind. So if you say you want your benefits to start in June, you're actually not going to get a check until July, and that's going to be your June benefits. That affects things also like your annual cost of living increase and things of that nature. But the big thing is many people don't realize just how valuable Social Security is. If you tried to go into the private market and buy an annuity that's going to pay you the same amount for life as Social Security, it'd cost you quite a bit of money. Your average Social Security benefit as an annuity would cost over $1 million for most people. And really, you can't duplicate Social Security because Social Security is indexed for inflation. And right now, the insurance people I know say there are no insurers who are willing to sell inflation-indexed annuities because inflation is so uncertain and so unpredictable that they don't think they can price it out. So those are just a couple of the highlights in there.
No, fantastic. So we're going to go to the phone lines for Bob Carlson of Retirement Watch, and we have Scott with Social Security for Couples. Go ahead, Scott.
Thank you for taking my call, Josh. Bob, this question is regarding the one spouse taking the Social Security at 62 and the other spouse waiting until 70. But I thought if you were born after 1958, they changed that, and you can't do that anymore.
No, the rule they changed is that what you used to be able to do is one spouse could claim their benefits and the other spouse could claim only what they call the spousal benefit, and then let their own retirement benefit continue to accrue and then switch from the spousal benefit to their own retirement benefit at age 70. So that kind of strategy is no longer allowed, but each spouse can claim their own retirement benefit at any time. And so if you can go to the calculator, Social Security's website has a calculator. There are also some private calculators that let you look at your lifetime benefits under different scenarios. And often in these cases, the strategy that works best for married couples is the higher earning spouse delays benefits as long as possible, and then the lower earning spouse can claim early, even as early as 62.
Thank you. One follow-up to that, but what happens in a case where the higher earning, they do that, and the younger spouse, the one takes it at 62, and then the higher earning waits, and then unfortunately passes away prior to the 70 and never takes the Social Security. What happens with the spouse that took it early? Would they still get the benefit of the higher earning spouse, or no?
Yeah, they would get a higher benefit if the higher earning spouse had not started claiming benefits before they passed away. Then the surviving spouse would either get the full retirement benefit that spouse would have been entitled to, or if they passed away after full retirement age, the surviving spouse would get whatever that deceased spouse would have been entitled to if they had applied for benefits on the day they died. So either way, you get some accrued benefit even if the higher earning spouse passes away before age 70.
Oh, great information. Thank you so much for taking my call.
Thank you.
We're with Bob Carlson of the book, Where's My Money? Secrets to Getting the Most Out of Your Social Security, a definitive guide to help applicants get Social Security benefits that will last them for life. In a way, Social Security is the best annuity. Money can't even buy an annuity as good as Social Security. There are some occasionally, Bob, that I see that have some inflation riders. Certainly not as robust as Social Security, where every delayed retirement credit, I believe, is equal to about an 8% simple interest bump every year you don't take Social Security from 62 to 70. And there are so many Social Security scams out there. How do you suggest people avoid them?
Yeah, people really need to monitor what's going on with their Social Security. One of the most popular or frequent scams now is where the crooks will get information from you, either by buying it on the web or by sending you an email or calling you. And once they get that information, they can go into the Social Security and have your benefit check, instead of going to your bank, have it go to their bank. A good way to protect against that is open up at the Social Security website what they call a My Social Security account. And on that account, you can monitor, just check, go in there every few months, make sure there's no activity going on in your account. And another thing, even if you're not claiming Social Security benefits yet, what a lot of these crooks are doing now is they will find people who are age 62, get their information, and go in and file for their benefits, having the benefits put in their own bank account. And then when that individual actually goes to file for benefits when they want to, which might be as late as age 70, only then do they find out someone's been paid their benefits for years, and they have to go to Social Security and straighten it out. So a really good tip is to open up a My Social Security account and then monitor what's going on, even if you're not claiming Social Security yet.
So go to ssa.gov and register.
Right, and if you're not comfortable online, you can call the Social Security 800 number or contact your local Social Security office and just ask, has there been any activity in my account over the last few months?
Well, here's what I would say to a lot of you retirees, pre-retirees. You say, I don't trust the internet. If you don't open up your own myssa.gov account, a scammer can. So you are more likely to be a victim of identity theft if you don't open up that account. You can set up multi-factor authentication to protect yourself. Do you want to comment on that? And then we're going to talk about divorced people and Social Security. But first, talk about what I just referred to.
Yeah, you have to pretty much assume that your personal information is available for sale on the dark web, and that if crooks want it, they can get it. So you have to protect yourself by, as you say, opening up that My Social Security account and monitoring the activity that goes on in there.
That way, if somebody gets your information on the dark web, they could open one for you.
Right.
And then you would be the one that they would think is committing fraud. So, excellent point. Next up, we have Kathy, a divorced spouse, and Social Security. We'll talk about that, but first we'll take a break, and we'll be back with more of your calls at 800-321-0710. And if you want the definitive guide, this is fresh out for 2021. Where's my money? Secrets to getting the most out of your Social Security. Call my office now at 888-988-JOSH and request a no-obligation review. 888-988-JOSH. Bob's people have been so gracious to give away the first 3 copies to the first 3 of you who schedule your no-obligation review, and to those, I'm sure we'll have, we're already having more people call us. I'm seeing the switchboard light up, so call our office, and if we exceed the free gifts, we'll throw it in for you. 888-988-JOSH, 888-988-5674. We'll be back after these messages.
Josh Jelinski, the financial quarterback here. In these uncertain financial times, it is imperative that you guard your financial future. If you call within the next 3 minutes, we will offer our complimentary bear market survival guide, which will detail steps to help your plan to potentially survive the COVID-19 crisis. The bear market survival guide will cover how you might still be able to retire amid a volatile economic climate. We will throw in our complimentary 27-point ultimate game plan for retirement. Call us at 888-988-JOSH, 888-988-5674 for your bear market survival guide.
Call Josh Jelinski, host of the popular Financial Quarterback radio program, 888-988-JOSH, 888-988-JOSH. It's always on your mind. Retirement, whether you're 55 or 35. Not everyone wants to work forever, and most would like a comfortable retirement. You may already have a plan, but is it the right one? Josh Jelinski, host of the popular Financial Quarterback radio program, is ready to guide you towards financial freedom. He challenges the ways your parents and grandparents saved money with fresh strategies, which are exactly what you need to navigate today's volatile economic climate. Josh's new book, Retirement Reality Check, is available to order on Amazon. It's an easy read that guides you through his system for securing your financial freedom, including tax-saving strategies, understanding the right investment mix, and more. Order now. Retirement Reality Check. Call Josh at 888-988-JOSH. Let Josh help you map out your retirement using fresh strategies. Call 888-988-5674. That's 888
with Bob Carlson now. What about divorced spouses? We have Kathy who has a question on divorce. Go ahead, Kathy.
Hi, Josh. First, I'd like to say thank you for taking my call. And Bob Carlson, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. My question is, I'm a divorced spouse. I was married for 16 years. I was divorced back in 1993. And I was on disability for quite a while until I turned 65, and it went from disability to regular, I guess, Medicare, Social Security, whatever it is. My question is, can I collect on my ex's Social Security the fact that I did not remarry?
You might be able to. A lot of people don't realize that, but divorced people can often collect on the earnings record of their previous spouse. To qualify for that, you had to have been married for at least 10 years and currently be unmarried. And then you can collect once you are 62 or older, and then the other spouse, the ex-spouse, has to be at least 62. And then additional requirement is you had to have been divorced at least 2 years, or the other spouse is already claiming their own retirement benefits, and then you can claim for benefits on their record if it's higher than your own earnings record. You'll only get one benefit. You either get your own benefit or the divorced spouse benefit, and generally the divorced spouse benefit is 50% of the full retirement benefit of the other spouse. So it sounds like you meet those requirements, so you might want to look into that. Normally, when Social Security takes your application, they ask about ex-spouses to make sure you're not eligible for an ex-spouse benefit, but sometimes that gets overlooked, and
yes,
sometimes, I would, if you've met those requirements, I would say contact Social Security and tell them that you think you're qualified for divorced spouse benefit, that it exceeds your regular benefit that you're getting now, and you'd like to apply for it.
Okay, because I lived in Florida for 16 years. I went to the Social Security offices down there. They had a hard time even looking up my ex's information because the only thing they would tell me if he was alive or deceased, but they were asking me all kinds of questions, what his mother's maiden name was, where he was born and raised, and everything. And I was in the office with a gentleman for about 2 hours, and then the gentleman had to call another employee over to help him because my ex worked in Malaysia after our divorce. He remarried right away. He worked in Malaysia for 2 years and came back, and he's still working. He's a teacher. I believe he lives in Texas. My ex is in Texas, like the song. And I just can't, I don't own a computer, so I have to do all my correspondence over the phone or in person at a Social Security office. And for years, I have been asking these questions, trying to call, and I've been collecting only on my own earnings. And I asked numerous times about, I'm divorced, I never remarried, can I collect on my exes? And I have a question. The longer my ex works, does his Social Security keep going up?
Yeah, but there's a question of whether he's working on a job that's covered by Social Security. A lot of overseas employment is not subject to Social Security, and also a lot of teaching jobs also aren't subject to Social Security. It varies from state to state. So if he's working in jobs that are covered by Social Security, then the longer he works, as he earns more income each year, that should increase his benefits. But it's not clear he's working in jobs that are covered by Social Security.
Years. And then after our divorce, he remarried, and like I said, they went to Malaysia, and then they came back, and then he just moves around constantly. He lived in Colorado, and now he's in Texas at 4 different addresses. And like I said, Social Security, the only information.
Who is this clown, right? Who is this clown? So
I won't comment.
Now I know why he's gone. He's in Malaysia.
I don't know who the heck I was married to for 16 years.
Why is he in
never
Malaysia?
Never even showed up at his father's funeral, so I can imagine.
Why is he in Malaysia?
Social Security only tells me if he's alive or dead. They said, we can't give you any information on him.
Yeah, they won't tell you anything, and they also won't tell him anything about you. And it's what a lot of people don't realize is you can apply for Social Security benefits based on your former spouse. It won't affect the amount of benefits he receives. He'll never know whether or not you're claiming benefits on his record. It's completely independent. So, they won't tell you anything, and they won't tell him anything.
Right. And I tried reading the booklets and everything, but you have to be a rocket scientist to try to figure them out. So my next step is, like I said, I'm going to make an appointment with Social Security here where I live in New Jersey and try to, see what's going on, because I think I'm only collecting on mine. And like I said, I was divorced in 1993. Now, is any of this stuff retroactive?
It could be.
It's only up to 6 months, right? It's only up to 6 months if there was a mistake made. Is it 6 or 12?
Well, it's 6 months if you want a lump sum of benefit you didn't apply for when you thought you should have. It could be, since someone might have made a mistake here, it might go back further. But you're right, in most cases, lump sum back payments only go up to 6 months.
Yeah, and I think there's some limitation. If there was an error, I think it might be 12, but I'm not 100% certain on that one. But that's why you want to act now. You want to get the book, Where's My Money? Call us today, 888-988-JOSH. Schedule your no obligation Maximize My Social Security review. We will go over the data talked about in Bob's book, and we have a free Social Security calculation that will give you when you schedule and keep your no obligation review. So call us now, 888-988-JOSH during the break. Get the free book when you schedule and keep your no obligation review. We'll be back after these messages.
Hey, meet you out on the first tee?
Yeah, I'll be right there. Just reading this article.
On what?
New bill Congress passed. Looks like it's going to affect the value of all retirement savings plans. My financial guy didn't tell me about this when I saw him the other day.
Well, my guy did, and we made a plan. You may have heard of him, Josh Jelinski.
Josh Jelinski is your guy?
Listen, if you're 10 years or less from retirement,
which I am,
Josh will give you a free economic plan, which includes retirement planning, a 27-point checklist to make sure your income lasts as long as you live. He'll even help you navigate the current tax code.
I'm definitely going to call Josh.
Cool, but first, can we play some golf?
Call Josh Jelinski, host of the popular Financial Quarterback radio program, for your free economic plan. 888-988-JOSH. 888-988-JOSH. 888-988-JOSH.
The Financial Quarterback. We have Bob from Bayonne who has a question for Bob Carlson. Go ahead.
Hi, no, I'm from Staten Island. I'm not from Bayonne, but thank you for taking my call. I have a unique situation. I'm one of those people who is subject to WEP. I did not pay Social Security for a good portion of my career. I'm about to retire. I'm going to be 55. And I have about 17 years in that are counted. I know I have to get another 13 in to make sure that I don't get under WEP. But I was just looking for any sort of advice in regards to, just in case, what if I don't get the 13 years in, and when I should apply for Social Security or not. And I'm not counting on Social Security. I have enough money, and it's going to be PIN money, but I do long-term planning.
Yeah. For those of you not familiar, the WEP is a provision for people who've worked part of their careers under jobs covered by Social Security and part of their careers not covered by Social Security. And under the normal Social Security formula, someone who did that, if there was no adjustment, would get more benefits than they normally would have. So they put in this formula that kind of adjusts your Social Security benefit for these years you worked in non-covered jobs. And you're right that the strategy to avoid a problem there is to try to work long enough in Social Security covered jobs so that you're no longer subject to the WEP. Your Social Security is no longer reduced. If you're not able to work that long, then what you do is when it comes time, when you're stopped working, you basically need to get some Social Security calculators like the one on the Social Security website and look at what year would be best for you to apply for benefits, because the effect of the WEP might be reduced by delaying your claiming for a few years. So really, you just, when the time comes, you need to work with either a financial planner or get some of the calculators available on the internet and just see what happens under different scenarios and what's the best strategy for you to take.
Okay.
Yeah, and Professor Kotlakoff, who's been on before, has a MaximizeMySocialSecurity.com review. I think normally it's like $39 or $40. It's one of the best ones I've seen. I don't know about you, Bob, but call us and we could do that for you for free. 888-988-JOSH. Radio listeners who schedule a no obligation review will get that free. 888-988-JOSH, and we'd love to help you through that. Any other follow-ups, Bob? Follow-up question?
Again, my strategy is, because it's awfully close, I'm hoping to, put in, right now I think it's about $6,000 of work, little part-time job or whatever every year, but because I'll be 68 by the time I get the 30 years in, that's awfully close to the, if I don't work 1 year or two, or just, then I'm going to be subject to it. So I figured I'd do the planning instead.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you'll probably find it's worth your effort to try to get those covered years in.
Which is what I thought. Thank you.
Wonderful.
You're welcome.
And Bob Carlson, your book, it must be very popular. The phones are just ringing off the hook today. Wonder if I could persuade you to join us in the second hour. You're very popular with our listeners. So
sure, I'd be glad to stay on.
The phone lines are just erupting, folks. If you cannot, I think it's your voice. You have a very nice voice, like someone's uncle or soothing grandfather Joe or grandfather Bob. We're breaking down all the Social Security tips for you all morning. And I want to talk about Retirement Watch, how to simplify the probate, which is also on Bob's website, and Secure Act, what you can do. A lot of people were asleep at the wheel last year, which was the first year you could really do anything by the Secure Act. They were more concerned about coronavirus, but the Secure Act, there's a lot of tips for you. We'll be back all next hour with it. So, folks, give us a call, 888-988-JOSH. Get the free book by Bob Carlson on Social Security when you schedule and keep your review, 888-988-JOSH.
WOR and WAXQ HD2 New York.
Relaunch, restart, recover. This is where New York comes for everything you need to know. The voice of New York. 710 WOR.
An iHeart radio station.
42 degrees at 10 o'clock. Good morning. I'm Paul DeCastro. After calling the Trump administration's rollout of the coronavirus vaccine program a failure, President-elect Joe Biden is outlining a very ambitious immunization strategy of his own. Here's ABC's Mary Bruce.
President-elect Joe Biden outlining his plan to deliver 100 million shots in 100 days.
Mobilize more medical teams to get the shots in people's arms. Increase supply and get it out the door as soon as possible.
The president-elect says he'll use FEMA and the National Guard to set up 100 emergency vaccination centers around the country, converting gyms, stadiums, and community centers. And he's promising that the federal government will streamline the vaccine distribution process to states.
Well, the federal supply of coronavirus vaccine is being delivered to New York is being cut from 300,000 to 250,000 doses next week. Governor Cuomo didn't have a reason, but says there's already a backlog with millions of New Yorkers now eligible.
We are now scheduling appointments through the distribution mechanism 14 weeks in advance, and most of the distributors are already fully booked.
Cuomo says folks who got the first dose are still secured to get a second dose at their scheduled appointment. He says the coronavirus positivity rate has been on its way down in the last week or so following a post-holiday surge, but he is concerned about the potential spread of that highly contagious UK variant, adding that it keeps him up at night. The federal government carried out the final execution of a death row inmate under the Trump administration. Dustin Higgs was put to death overnight, becoming the 13th federal death row inmate to die since the Justice Department restarted federal executions in 2019. President-elect Joe Biden has pledged to abolish the federal death penalty. Higgs was convicted in the killings of 3 women in 1996. And a man is dead following a 2-alarm house fire in Newark Friday night. Officials say one person died and another was rescued from the roof after the fire broke out around 8:30 on Hedden Terrace in the South Ward. Firefighters found the victim unconscious just beyond the front door of his home. He was pronounced dead at the scene. One firefighter suffered an ankle injury and was treated at the scene.
Here's your WOR Weather Channel forecast. Rain is going to move out this morning, then some breaks in the clouds during the afternoon hours with a high today hitting 47. The clearing trend will continue tonight, the low dropping down to 35. A little bit cooler wrapping up the weekend tomorrow, sunny and breezy with a high of 44. The outlook for the Martin Luther King holiday on Monday, a mix of clouds and sunshine with a high in the mid-40s. I'm meteorologist Jeff Marr.
Next news at 11, start your day with Len Berman and Michael Riedel in the morning, 6 till 10 weekdays. I'm Paul DeCastro on 710 WOR, an NBC News radio station.
Tired of losing money in the stock market roller coaster? Frustrated with the government taxing you into oblivion? Worried about inflation? How do you prepare for so many financial uncertainties? Welcome to the show that will help you develop your game plan. The Financial Quarterback with Josh Jelinski. Josh is a noted financial advisor and president of the Jelinski Advisory Group, and he's here to answer your questions. Call into the show at 800-321-0710. 800-321-0710. Now, let's kick off your financial future. Here's Josh Jelinski.
Okay, we're back. This is Josh Jelinski, the Financial Quarterback, with Bob Carlson. We're going to the phone lines at 800-321-0710 with your questions for Bob Carlson, who's a hot guest. We're going to be giving away his 2021 edition, fresh out, Social Security, Secrets to Getting the Most out of your Social Security when you schedule and keep your no obligation review. We have Lynn, who has a question. Go ahead.
Lynn from Bridgewater. My aunt is in an assisted living home, So I wanted to go get her set up with a my Social Security account so that her address could be changed and that her bank account could be changed. And the Social Security office tells me the only way she can create an account, she didn't have access to internet before, she's 88 years old, is if she goes to the office, the Social Security office in person. Well, she's not allowed to do that because of COVID-19, and even if she were allowed, it's very difficult because she is wheelchair bound. How do I get a Social Security account set up for her?
Yeah, it's difficult. The rules Social Security sets up to prevent ID theft and stuff, unfortunately, hinder people like those in your mother's situation. And actually, there's really nothing good I can tell you to do because they just put these restrictions in place and make it very difficult for the really elderly people who don't work on computers themselves to do it. The only thing you might want to try is if you can bring a laptop computer to where your mother is and, you know, work through the setting up the account with her. Other than that, it's very difficult. They put a lot of restrictions in place to prevent ID theft, and sometimes that prevents people who really could benefit, but who need help from getting the benefits that they need from that system.
I'm not allowed to bring her a computer because of COVID-19, so I can't see her.
Yeah.
But
I understand, and my parents are also in assisted living, and I've had similar issues with them. But really, the restrictions that are put in place, the combination of the privacy protection as well as the COVID restrictions, it really, in a lot of cases, is just not possible.
Yeah, so I'm afraid we're not going to get notices because she's no longer at her home address, and that's her address on record, and I can't change it to the assisted living place.
Couldn't you get power of attorney over her and go to the Social Security office yourself?
I have power of attorney. They said that was not adequate.
Right. Social Security does not recognize regular power of attorney. Neither does the IRS.
What do they recognize? Their form?
They have a special form. I forget what it's called, but you designate a representative to manage your account. It might be possible to get that done, but that's also not an easy thing to do. You know, the best thing if you just want to change the address is to try calling the 800 number and see what they'll let you do, but they probably since you can't go in and sit next to your mother while you're on the call, and she probably can't handle the call herself, it's going to be very difficult.
Yes, that's what I found. This was my Hail Mary phone call.
Yeah, the only thing I might suggest is contact your congressman, talk to their constituent services, and see if they might be able to do anything.
Okay.
And I would suggest you go there, go to the Social Security office, get that representative form, and maybe then they'll talk to you. I believe it's form SSA 1696 called Claimant's Appointment of a Representative.
Mm-hmm.
And you can send the completed form to your Social Security office. So it's form SSA 1696.
Okay.
And then you can be the representative. So it is like a power of attorney for that case. Okay. So
okay. Well, this gets me a little closer.
Yeah, hopefully that helps you.
Something to do.
Yeah. And then, you know, the SSA, you could, the website, you can search for a lot of stuff on there. Like I found that in a minute.
I have for me. It's easy for me because I set it up. But searching for her, she's never been on the internet at all.
So you want to be
with a rotary phone.
Now, representatives can be attorneys or non-attorneys. So basically, they can help you there, or if that's not the right form, I'm sure there are other forms out there on the website. You could check out a lot of stuff at SSA.gov and get the book by Bob Carlson for free when you schedule and keep your no obligation review at 888-988-JOSH. So Bob, we talked about and folks, if you have more Social Security questions, call us 888-988-JOSH. We talked about the Secure Act. We'll have a little detour from Social Security, but folks, if you have Social Security questions, let us know. We're on with a nationally regarded expert talking about his book, Fresh Out for 2021. So, Bob, you mentioned the Secure Act, which was a landmark change in retirement legislation. And for those just tuning in, we're with Bob Carlson of the website retirementwatch.com. And you have a breaking story on your website that Congress comes for your retirement money. And first, let's talk about that. How is Congress coming for people's retirement money?
Well, for decades, Congress has encouraged people to put money away in IRAs and 401ks by giving them tax breaks. And now there's trillions of dollars in those accounts, and Congress is tired of waiting for people to take the distributions so that they owe taxes on them. So it's trying to do some things to accelerate these distributions. And one of them was in the Secure Act, where they had said that if someone inherits an IRA, they no longer can use what we called a stretch IRA and allow the money to accumulate in the IRA for as long as possible to continue to compound tax deferred. Previously, under a stretch IRA, you would only have to take distributions out over your life expectancy, and you could leave it in there, otherwise let it compound until you really needed the money. But under the Secure Act, in most cases when an IRA is inherited, it has to be fully distributed and taxed within 10 years. So it takes away that really valuable benefit that heirs had when they inherited an IRA, and it's forcing IRAs to be distributed faster than they otherwise would have, and have people pay those taxes sooner, and probably it'd be at a higher rate because they can't spread it out over the years and get lower tax brackets. They might have to take it out faster in larger amounts and be pushed into a higher tax bracket. So that's the key effect of the Secure Act, and it's just one, I think a part of what's going to be a long-term plan by Congress to try to get people to, or force people to, get money out of their IRAs faster so that they're taxed earlier than they would have been.
Yeah, and it's a real loss for middle-class wealth, like all of these types of rules that seemingly get passed. This week it was just announced they're going for a $15 minimum wage. And Target, Amazon, Walmart, they can afford that. Costco, but the average small business can't. And that's how a lot of these laws go. The little guy gets crushed. So somebody with a $200,000 IRA, no soup for you. You can't leave that to your kids. They got to spend it down, and that money goes on their tax return. A lot of people do not realize, in doing this, Bob, I'm sure you've found people don't even realize that their IRA or 401k is taxed, often at a higher rate in retirement. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, it's a lot of misunderstandings both for retirees and as part of the estate planning. When most assets are inherited, there's no tax due, and plus you increase the tax basis to the current fair market value and can sell for no capital gain. But when a traditional IRA or 401k is inherited, whoever inherits it has to pay taxes on the distributions just as you would have. So they're taxed as ordinary income. They get no break the way they would if they inherit other assets. And then for retirees during their lifetimes, they look at the amount that's in their IRA and they think, well, I have that much for retirement. But actually they have to pay ordinary income taxes on every dollar they take out of there. So they really only owe or own the after-tax amount of what's in that IRA. And
Yeah.
plus, when they get past age 72 now, and have to take required minimum distributions, they have to take that money out whether they need it or not. And for many people, these required minimum distributions push them into a higher tax bracket because they have other assets, and they're forced to take out this money whether they need it or not. And that can push them into a higher tax bracket, cause more of their Social Security to be taxed, and even cause them to trigger the Medicare premium surtax.
Yeah, so if you like what you hear, folks, Bob Carlson, his new book, fresh out for 2021. You want to get it. Where can it be bought? Amazon or wherever books are sold? Or do you have a website for the book?
It's on Amazon, and it's also on the publisher, Regnery.com. So either place will have it at a good price.
Yeah, 2021 edition, Social Security, Where's My Money? You can buy it wherever books are sold, Regnery or Amazon, or you can get it free when you schedule and keep your no obligation retirement Social Security review. We'll talk more about the Secure Act and take your calls at 888-988-JOSH, 888-988-JOSH if you want the free review, and 800-321-0710 if you have a final question for Bob Carlson in our last segment. 800-321-0710. 800-321-0710. We'll be back after these messages.
Are you worried about the recent
I
coronavirus
guess we
crisis
slowed
and how
down
it may
with
have
calls
affected
for
your
him.
money? Hi, everybody. I'm Josh Jelinski, the financial quarterback, inviting you to join me for my complimentary 6 Ways to Keep Calm During Turbulent Markets webinar. If you schedule and keep your no-obligation webinar today at 888-988-JOSH. It's a great thing to do if you're stuck at home under stay-at-home orders. Call us right now, 888-988-JOSH. If you're bored, there's never been a better time to get a second opinion on your wealth than right now. 888-988-JOSH, 888-988-5674. And go to my website, retirementrealitycheck.com today and take your free investment profile quiz. And when you buy my book, you're eligible for 3 free gifts. 888-988-JOSH.
Call Josh Jelinski, host of the popular Financial Quarterback radio program. 888-988-JOSH.
Josh Jelinski, the financial quarterback here. In these uncertain financial times, it is imperative that you guard your financial future. If you call within the next 3 minutes, we will offer our complimentary bear market survival guide, which will detail steps to help your plan to potentially survive the COVID-19 crisis. The bear market survival guide will cover how you might still be able to retire amid a volatile economic climate. We will throw in our complimentary 27-point ultimate game plan for retirement. Call us at 888-988-JOSH, 888-988-5674 for your bear market survival guide.
Call Josh Jelinski, host of the popular Financial Quarterback radio program. 888-988-JOSH, 888-988-JOSH.
Okay, we're back with Bob Carlson, and we have a question from Carol. Go ahead, Carol, in the Bronx.
Hi, I'm on a Social Security. I'm almost 78 years old, and I'm on SSI for a total a month, a sum of $901. Now, I own half a house, and the other person who owns the other half, we are in agreement to sell the house. Now, I don't have a computer, a cell phone, or any other of those electronic things. So I'm like the lady before me. It's very hard to find out information over the phone and even in person. Because I'm on SSI, I'm under the understanding that when the house is sold, and I'm only getting half, I have to pay back SSI. I'm trying to find out information, and I think the best thing to do is to find some kind of a lawyer that could help me with this. But because of my low income, $901, this is for 2021, it's $901 a month, because some people, when I tell them, they think it's a week. I have to, what money I get from the sale and paying back SSI, I have to live on that income, and I'll be renting. I'm trying to also get into a low income or a senior complex. So I need somebody to help me. I can't get any help out there by myself. Do I have to pay SSI back? Not that I don't mind doing it, because without that SSI, right now I would only be getting for 2021 $852 a month in income, and it's impossible to live on that. So where can I go? And I'm going to take your books, hopefully, out of the library, because I can't afford to buy them, and see what I can do. Everybody tells you something different.
Yeah, and often when you call Social Security at different times, you'll get different answers from different people.
If you can get them on the phone, if you can reach them on the phone, they say go to the computer. What does somebody like me, 78 years old, I know how to work a computer. I don't have one, and I don't want to put this information in the library.
Right. Yeah, what I would suggest is each state has a program where they offer free counseling to the elderly on various financial issues, including Social Security. It's usually called, excuse me, the Area Agency on Aging. So what I would do is find what the agency that does that in your state, and I would contact them. Usually they'll give free counseling, unlimited counseling, and they'll look up the issues you have and work with the agency that you're working with, in this case Social Security, to try to get you in the best situation possible. So that's the way you can get good, qualified, experienced advice without having to pay a lawyer or an accountant to do it for you.
And do you go to the Bronx office? It says you're in the Bronx, Carol. Do you go to their Social Security office directly? Have you been there?
Even to get an appointment, because they don't answer the phone anymore. It's on Parker Avenue. I'm calling you from the Bronx.
Yeah, but can you go there physically?
I can go there physically. Yes, I can. Even though I'm ill, I had pneumonia twice this year, and so
my heart.
That's okay. It's just because I'm elderly, nobody wants to come near me.
My heart breaks for you. I'm sure if you go to the office, somebody will help you. You seem like a sweet woman, but this is a real problem in the middle of a pandemic. Poor Carol is 78, and she can't get any help. Carol, do you have like a niece or a nephew or somebody that you could borrow their?
No, absolutely. And I have a brother that's 3.5 hours one way, and the other guy has non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, and he's going to chemo and radiation.
Yeah, we'll give our people your address. We'll send you a free book. My heart goes out to you for what you're going through. And Bob, maybe I don't know if you know anybody who could find this Advanced Center on Aging. What is it? Is it called AAS?
It's usually called the Area Agency on Aging.
Area Agency on Aging in the Bronx. And I'm telling you, I don't live near you, Carol, but I'd go visit you if
thank you
if you
so
can't
much.
get help, somebody will help you. It's called the New York City Department for the Aging. Does that sound right? Does this sound right, Bob? I'm just Googling here. The phone number is 212-6469. They're closed probably Martin Luther King Jr. Day, but hey, they might be open. It says hours might differ. They're open from 8:30 to 5:30. They are in near Foley Square. And then basically, you call them. Some of them they'll help you receive meals. New York actually does have a pretty strong social safety net in terms of states. So, if you still need some help, call us next week, and we'll try to find somebody to help you.
Thank you, Josh.
So so New Jersey, this is just from me Googling. There's affordable senior housing, there's senior centers, there's case management, there's community guardian programs. There is a lot, but I would first focus on maybe getting out to the Social Security office and calling this Department of the Aging. But yeah, what do? You don't have a computer. You go to I guess you go to the library. You know, the library, I know you're worried about people with your data, but maybe you could befriend someone at the library who could delete the cookies or something on the browser or something. There are various churches. My heart goes out to you. What a sweetheart. So, Carol, hopefully you keep us posted. Give the call screener your address and we can try to get a book out to you. Okay, next up we have Peter. He's 62 and different questions he should ask the Social Security people. Go ahead, Peter. Peter. Hello. Okay. Peter's on.
Good morning, gentlemen. Thank
Go
you
ahead,
for taking
Peter.
my phone call. I'm going to be 62 in a few months. I just retired 7 months ago. I spoke to Social Security the other day. I got through to them, and they got an appointment for me in the next couple of weeks to talk to them. They're going to call me on my cell phone. Is that correct? They could do that with no problem?
Yeah, a lot of them are working remotely now, and they can contact you if you provide them with a way to do that. They will not initiate contact, but if you first contact them and then give them your cell phone and other information, they'll call you back.
Okay. That was one of my questions. Well, I called the 1-800 number, I think it was.
Right.
The thing is, I'm thinking about taking it at 62, but what are the things that I should possibly need when they start talking to me? Like what kind of information they're going to ask for that I need to get for them?
Yeah, normally they will give you a checklist, but to apply for benefits, you're going to need a lot of proof of who you are. You're probably going to need a birth certificate, a passport. If when people claim spousal benefits, they need proof of marriage and things of that nature. So yeah, once you go to apply for benefits, they're going to want a lot of information to prove who you are. You got to remember all the addresses you used to live at, things of that nature.
Okay. Could I ask them, like, what am I gonna receive if I do take it at 62? Will they give me that answer?
Oh yeah, they'll tell you what your benefits will be at any age you want to pick. That's one of the key things they do is tell you what your estimated benefits are under different scenarios. So yeah, that should be one of the first questions you go over, so you can decide whether you want to claim at 62 or whether you want to wait a little longer and see how much your benefits will increase over time.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. You've been a great help, but I think I'm going to buy your book just to read it.
Well, thank you.
Wonderful. It's a great book, and we are giving it away to those of you who schedule and keep your no obligation review. The 2021 edition of Where's My Money? Secrets to Getting the Most Out of Social Security. Bob, didn't just Carol's story break your heart? So I searched the web, and Carol, in the 5 boroughs, you dial 311 for the New York City Department for the Aging. They serve Bronx County, and the address is 2 Lafayette Street on the 7th floor, New York, New York. You dial 311, apparently, and you get there. Man, Bob, didn't just Carol's story break your heart? Any other tips for Carol?
It did, and I hear that kind of thing a lot. There are a lot of people or a lot of agencies and organizations that are out there to help people like Carol, but with this pandemic, they just can't do what they used to be able to do. They can't have people coming into offices. They can't go visiting people the way they used to. So people like Carol are really isolated, and it's really difficult for them to get the help they need.
Wow. Okay, we have Dan who has an RMD question. Dan, go ahead.
Good morning, gentlemen. So, in about a year and a half or so, I'll be turning 72. I actually have like two questions, okay, if I may, all regarding the RMD. The first one would be, at what point at that year the RMD would be due? Would it be before my birthday, all the way till December 31st? This is one question.
Yeah, well, wait, we got to take a short break. And when we return, we'll be back with Dan and his many questions. And folks, if you have a question for us, give us a call, 800-321-0710. And we'll hold over Bob one more segment, Bob Carlson, if that's all right, Bob. Man, New York loves you, Bob. You're down in Aiken, South Carolina, and for some reason, New York loves you, and the nation, as we are heard around the nation with the iHeart Radio app, also on YouTube. Make sure you go to our YouTube channel. Go to youtube.com, search for Jelinski, Jalinski, and get the free book called Where's My Money? The 2021 edition. Bob Carlson's fresh guide. Bob is known as America's #1 retirement expert. I don't even know how, like who said that, but apparently I see why. You're a wealth of information. You have the website Retirement Watch, and you're a lot of fun and a nice guy. So folks, give us a call. Also, Congress comes for your money. A devastating new law has just been enacted with serious consequences for anyone holding an IRA, pension, or 401k. Fortunately, there are still steps you can take to help you get the money grab that, which is surprisingly was done under a Republican president and Senate, and people did not even realize the money grab was the elimination of the stretch IRA. So call us, and I doubt President-elect Biden is really going to repeal it, to be honest. It's not on the radar. So basically, the stretch IRA is dead. Long live the stretch. I hope they bring it back. I love the stretch. But there's things you can do now. You can look at charitable trusts. You can look at life insurance. You can look at Roths. You can look at spending the accounts. Call us 888-988-JOSH, 888-988-JOSH. And we'll give you Bob Carlson's book free when you schedule and keep your no obligation review. And his book, if you want to buy it, you can buy it on Amazon or wherever books are sold. Give us a call. Actually, go to Regnery Publishing. We have to stop the Amazon monopoly. 888-988-JOSH. We'll be back after these messages.
It's always on your mind. Retirement, whether you're 55 or 35. Not everyone wants to work forever, and most would like a comfortable retirement. You may already have a plan, but is it the right one? Josh Jelinski, host of the popular Financial Quarterback radio program, is ready to guide you towards financial freedom. He challenges the ways your parents and grandparents saved money with fresh strategies, which are exactly what you need to navigate today's volatile economic climate. Josh's new book, Retirement Reality Check, is available to order on Amazon. It's an easy read that guides you through his system for securing your financial freedom, including tax-saving strategies, understanding the right investment mix, and more. Order now. Retirement Reality Check. Call Josh at 888-988-JOSH. Let Josh help you map out your retirement using fresh strategies. Call 888-988-5674. That's 888-988-5674.
financial quarterback. And we got Dan and then Hemi. And folks, make sure you go to youtube.com/Josh Jelinski, the financial quarterback. Or actually, all you have to do is search for JALINSKI. Subscribe to our new YouTube channel. Just search for Jelinski, JALINSKI. Nationally, we're heard on the iHeart Radio app. Also on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play. If you have an Android phone, tell all of your friends. And tell your friends also about Bob Carlson's latest book, which we are giving away, called Where's My Money? The 2021 edition. So, and then I as we conclude with Bob Carlson, I do want to talk about some solutions to the problem of the Secure Act. A little bit, break that down a little more. Dan, you had some questions. Go ahead.
Okay, so as I said, about a year and a half or so, I'll be reaching 72. So I'm just trying to get an idea as far as when the RMD will start. In my case here, would it be just before my birthday, all the way to the end of the year, or the following year? How do I know when it's due?
Okay, well, the final deadline is April 1 of the year after you turn 72. But I would encourage you to take that first RMD by December 31 of the year you turn 72. And that's because after that first RMD, you have to take another one for the year which you're 73. So if you wait until that final deadline of April 1 of the year after you turn 72, then you'll be taking 2 RMDs in that year. It'll probably push you up to the next tax bracket and increase your taxes overall. So for most people, what makes sense is to take that first RMD by December 31 of the year they turn 72, and then they take that next RMD in the year they turn 73, rather than having to take 2 RMDs in the year they're turning 73. So that would be my suggestion of how to do it. But as I said, you can wait until April 1 of the year after you turn 72.
So much. Okay, my other question is regarding the year. Now, I know just recently, because the CARE Act, it was changed from 70.5 to 72. I have to say that as they were talking about it, and there was a case of the House and the Senate was supposed to go to 75, they end up Senate not taking action on it, and I don't have to bore you with details. Okay, it's 72 now. But I did call some of my representatives. I didn't get anywhere with them. And I was wondering, okay, do you have any recommendation of really try to extend it a minimum of 75, I would say, to 80 if it's all possible, especially because all the restrictions that came under the CARE Act? Do you have any thoughts about it?
Yeah, well, actually, because they did away with the stretch IRA, I'm not sure why we need RMDs at all, because the end of the stretch IRA ensures that the IRA is going to be distributed shortly after people's lifetimes. But, I find most people, either they need more than the RMD or they don't need any amount at all because they have other assets. So the RMDs are really just an inconvenience for people. I'm not sure it really adds anything to the government's tax revenues. And there's a small contingent in Congress that is in favor of just doing away with RMDs altogether. And I think that would be the best solution. It greatly simplifies finances for senior people, and I really don't think it's going to make a big difference in government revenues. So,
do you really see that happening? Do you really see that? I've never even. I've been doing this for years, and I've heard it, but it seems like a fringe. Maybe we can make it popular here, Bob.
Yeah, it's a small contingent of people in Congress, but the Senate bill wanted to increase it to 75, and I think as they see the effect of the stretch IRA, and as more and more people complain about the complications of RMDs, it could slip in as part of a larger bill.
I think the 75 plan was much better because you got something. Now you get 1.5 years, and really about 1 year because the average person kind of did it wrong. They fumbled it. They waited till the year they turned 70 and a half. They didn't do it then. They did it the next year because their accountant told them. So they kind of did it 2 years anyway. So it really got a year of delay.
Right.
But then you eliminated 80 years of benefit. People are asleep at the wheel. It's like this donut hole with Social Security that people are talking about. I'm reading an article by Think Advisor. You read these articles by generally journalism majors or English majors who know nothing about finance, and they talk about how people, the rich don't pay Social Security tax. Well, we pay, hardworking Americans. A lot of our listeners pay up to 37 cents on every dollar to federal taxes. You're in South Carolina, which is a red state. You pay about an 8% state income tax. New Jersey, it's like 10.75. And then you also pay 6.2% Social Security tax and 1.45. So there's been talk, AOC and others want the tax rate to be 70%. It's already there. You want to talk about that? Because that's something that people don't even realize. And then if President-elect Biden gets his way with taxing Social Security wages above 400 grand, essentially people are going to be paying just an astronomical amount in taxes.
Yeah, we tried these higher tax rates some decades ago, and we found it caused the economy to stagnate, and also found people put money into a lot of non-productive things just to find a way to reduce their taxes. So really increasing the tax rates is not a good way to go, and Congress will probably find that if it increases tax rates, it's going to have to increase loopholes so that people will be able to continue to operate their businesses and pay their expenses and so forth. So my feeling is we tried doing that way. It didn't work particularly well. And I think given all the problems we have now, to lump higher tax rates on top of that is probably not going to turn out well.
Yeah, and it's also going to decimate small businesses further so that the Amazonification, as I say, of the country can continue. So retirementwatch.com, Bob Carlson. We got two more questions for you, if you don't mind. People are loving you, Bob. Bob, I've been doing a radio show for years. I believe 13 years. Have you ever been on? Your voice sounds familiar. I don't think we've ever had you on, and you're like a fan. You're like a hidden gem.
I appreciate that. It's kind of you.
So you're going to turn into a regular soon, I'm assuming. Okay, we have Al. How did we find you? My producer? Good job, Cal. You're a good egg. I mean, Okay, we have Al. Al, go ahead.
Hey, Mr. Jelinski. Speaking of good eggs, what you did for Carol there was very, very nice. Very empathetic, and as always, you're giving great knowledge. I appreciate that. I have two questions. One, a point which you may have mentioned because I just tuned in recently. Do you have any idea about filing start with the IRS is accepting? I've heard it's been delayed to February 12th this year. Is that true?
Yeah, they just announced, I think it was yesterday, that because Congress enacted a big tax law at the end of December, the IRS needs time to update its computers and redo some of its forms. So it's not going to start accepting tax returns until February 12th. So there's really no rush to try.
So another reason for accountants to procrastinate.
Right. And another problem for people who generally overpay during the year and count on big refunds to finance the early part of the year. They won't be able to apply for those refunds until February 12th at the earliest.
Wow. So, yeah, and thank you to Ernesto. That was Ernesto's idea to give away the book to Carol. So, Anything we could do. I mean, this way I would drive over to see her house if I lived near the Bronx, and maybe we have somebody who can help Carol, local church, charity, something. Just give the woman a ride. It seems she needs something. So we got Al, then we have Richie, who we'll talk to next. When should he take Social Security? And folks, man, do us a favor. If you like what you're hearing, call us at 888-988-JOSH and get the free book, the 2021 edition of Where's My Money? The Secrets to Getting the Most Out of Social Security. Call us today, 888-988-JOSH, 888-988-JOSH. Up next, I'm also going to talk about what you can do with the Secure Act. And there was some big thing about some changes on Social Security that you need to be aware of. Some things that are coming down the pike in a Biden administration and what you have to be concerned about next. This is Josh Jelinski, the financial quarterback. Don't touch that dial.
Hey, meet you out on the first tee?
Yeah, I'll be right there. Just reading this article.
On what?
New bill Congress passed. Looks like it's going to affect the value of all retirement savings plans. My financial guy didn't tell me about this when I saw him the other day.
Well, my guy did, and we made a plan. You may have heard of him, Josh Jelinski.
Josh Jelinski is your guy?
Listen, if you're 10 years or less from retirement,
which I am,
Josh will give you a free economic plan, which includes retirement planning, a 27-point checklist to make sure your income lasts as long as you live. He'll even help you navigate the current tax code.
I'm definitely going to call Josh.
Cool, but first, can we play some golf?
Call Josh Jelinski, host of the popular Financial Quarterback radio program, for your free economic plan. 888-988-JOSH. 888-988-JOSH. 888-988-JOSH.
Are you worried about the recent coronavirus crisis and how it may have affected your money? Hi, everybody. I'm Josh Jelinski, the financial quarterback, inviting you to join me for my complimentary 6 Ways to Keep Calm During Turbulent Markets webinar. If you schedule and keep your no-obligation webinar today at 888-988-JOSH, it's a great thing to do if you're stuck at home under stay-at-home orders. Call us right now, 888-988-JOSH. If you're bored, there's never been a better time to get a second opinion on your wealth than right now. 888-988-JOSH, 888-988-5674. And go to my website, retirementrealitycheck.com today and take your free investment profile quiz. And when you buy my book, you're eligible for 3 free gifts. 888-988-JOSH.
Call Josh Jelinski, host of the popular Financial Quarterback radio program. 888-988-JOSH.
Back, taking your calls on all matters financial. And we have a nice radio friend in Bob Carlson, who stuck it out, man. He's a trooper. Retirement Watch, I'm sure your book is going to climb to Amazon bestseller status today. My book, Retirement Reality Check, which, folks, by the way, if you haven't bought my book, go over to my website, retirementrealitycheck.com. Buy my book. You get 3 free gifts. Don't buy it on Amazon. Number one, you got to realize the Amazonification of America. They will control everything. Servers, books. If you have the chance, go to the local business rather than Amazon. One, they already know everything about you anyway. But 2, we have to save ourselves if we want small businesses to thrive. So go over to retirementrealitycheck.com today, buy my book, and go to Regnery and search for Bob Carlson's book, Where's My Money? Fresh out for 2021, and we'll give that to you for free. Richie, go ahead, from Manalapan. Wow, my wife was a teacher in Manalapan back in the day. Go ahead, Richie.
Yes, I'm 66 years old. I'd like to know when to collect Social Security. Do you wait to 70 or you collect it at now?
Well, there's no good one answer for everybody because their situations are different. But in general, unless you have a reason to think you're not going to live to at least average life expectancy, you're better off over the long term waiting to claim, get that 8% tax-free increase in your benefit each year, and then you'll feel the compounded effect of that as retirement goes on. And I don't think you'll regret waiting. I know a lot of people I've met who've regretted taking benefits early. I've yet to meet someone who regretted waiting to get that higher benefit.
But how long do I have to wait to recoup those 4 years that I'm waiting?
As a general rule, if you wait now to claim benefits, you have to live to about age 78 or 80 before you reach what they call the crossover point. And so that's basically, if you can live to that average life expectancy for your age group, which is somewhere in the late 70s, early 80s, then it'll pay off for you.
All right, thanks a lot.
Now, how do you know your life expectancy? One of the things that we're doing with a lot of retirees, it is important to get a life expectancy analysis. We can provide that to you for free. Most people don't realize you can do that. How do you do that? You get a life insurance physical. If a life insurance company will take you, then that means you're probably going to live a long time. If they won't take you, then that means you won't live that long. We did that with my father and mother. They tragically passed rather young. They couldn't get insurance. So that's a good sign. If a life insurance company doesn't take you, take it now. If they will take you, delay it. I think I'm the only one in the country, Bob, who's talked about that. But linking the life insurance physical with the Social Security, because there are these calculators on the web and they tell your life expectancy. They are wrong. You have to figure out your unique expectancy. And the only way you can do that is a life insurance examination.
Yeah, the life insurance have a lot of data.
Yeah.
And they spend a lot of time doing correlations between different things. And you can have your blood work, for example, come in at normal levels, but because of various other factors, you might actually be at risk of a lower than average life expectancy, and usually only the insurance companies have the number crunching ability and the data to figure that out.
And they don't publish the data because that would kill their numbers or hurt them with competition. But if you get approved, of all the people that I get, approved, like 99.9% don't die for a while. Those who don't get approved are higher likelihood of early demise, so you should take it earlier. That's my general tip for today. And folks, if you need help with that, call us at 888-988-JOSH, and we'll give you Bob Carlson's book, Where's My Money? The 2021 edition. And then we have Kelly, who wants to talk about libraries, not good source for computer use. And then Stella, how AARP can help seniors like Carol. When we return, the final tips with Bob Carlson of the retirementwatch.com. And folks, call us 888-988-JOSH for the free book. When you schedule and keep your no obligation review, call us now. 888-988-JOSH. We'll be back after these messages.
Josh Jelinski, the financial quarterback here. In these uncertain financial times, it is imperative that you guard your financial future. If you call within the next 3 minutes, we will offer our complimentary bear market survival guide, which will detail steps to help your plan to potentially survive the COVID-19 crisis. The bear market survival guide will cover how you might still be able to retire amid a volatile economic climate. We will throw in our complimentary 27-point ultimate game plan for retirement. Call us at 888-988-JOSH, 888-988-5674 for your bear market survival guide.
Call Josh Jelinski, host of the popular Financial Quarterback radio program, 888-988-JOSH, 888-988-JOSH.
And we have a couple more questions. Number one, Kelly wants to sound off about libraries. Go ahead, Kelly.
Thank you for taking my call. This is basically a general announcement through my experience. Queens Public Library and New York Public Library do not have their computers available to patrons, basically because it's a touch situation and it easily spreads COVID-19. But they are checking out books. You have to call and request the book, the title. It helps if you have the author, and then they'll put the book aside for you and let them know when you're going to go and pick it up, and you just check it out regularly. And I found out it takes 2 days for the coronavirus to leave paper. The Queens Library I went to holds the books in a container for 2 days, and by then the virus should be dead. And the New York Public Library branch I went to holds the books for 4 days, just to make sure.
Well, no, I mean, my wife, this was years ago. She always wipes the library books and sprays them when they come home. But hey, our tax dollars go to pay for that. And
right.
We've had premature children, so basically we know how to kind of deal with germs in the Jelinski household. Here's the other tip. People still wear their shoes when they come to my house. For a party, shoes come off. We have 2 tiles that say mahalo for taking your shoes off. And rude people still want to wear shoes. And it's always an issue because I'm yelling at visitors when they come in my house to take off their shoes. Folks, Asian cultures have done this for centuries. I think that will be maybe the greatest innovation to stop the spread of germs. What do you say, Bob?
Yeah, I don't like wearing shoes indoors if I don't have to, so I'm quite happy to take my shoes off if people don't want them on.
And my mother-in-law, when she comes over, I need shoes because of my back. I said, you need an inside pair of shoes. So now she brings her inside pairs. Thank you, Mom. And then Stella, final thought. Any final thought? Stella, you have a tip for Carol? Go to ARP, I guess. Okay, well, we got a break. We got to leave. Bob, Retirement Watch, you've been a great guest. Folks, get Bob Carlson's book right now. Call us, 888-988-JOSH. Folks, if you want to help Carol, Stella, I want you to be my first caller tomorrow at 9. We are live Saturdays and Sundays at 9 on WOR710am.com. We can be heard around the world there. Bob Carlson, Retirement Watch, thank you so much. It was a lot of fun. And folks, we found a hidden gem in Bob Carlson. Call us now, 888-988-JOSH, to get his book today. 888-988-JOSH.
The preceding program was sponsored by the Jelinski Advisory Group. Any awards, rankings, or recognition by unaffiliated third parties or publications, including 5-star